I've always just enjoyed that alone time, going up there and sort of not listening to much, just hearing that wind, time to think about things. My name is K&L Schweizer, and we're here at K&L Soaring in upstate New York, in between Elmira and Ithaca. So we took over for the care and sort of custody of Schweizer aircraft gliders. So they built about 2,500 of them through the years, and so we have the type certificates for those gliders, and so we make parts and do repairs and refurbishments for those gliders.
AOPA keeps flying safe, accessible, and fun by protecting your freedom to fly. We are the most trusted one-stop resource for all things related to general aviation. Become an AOPA pilot today. Thanks to SiriusXM Aviation for sponsoring this video. Click below to learn how their satellite-delivered weather info can help you in flight.
So I'm third generation. My grandfather Ernie and his two brothers started Schweizer Aircraft in 1939, and they ran it until the mid-70s. Then my father and my two cousins, Paul and Stu, my father being Les, took over control of the company, and they ran it till they sold it in 2004 to Sikorsky. Then in 2006, we bought the spare parts from Sikorsky and the type certificates from them to start our own business, K&L Soaring. I would say the two most popular models are the 233, the SGS 233, which is a two-place trainer, and it's sort of what I would consider the de facto trainer for glider pilots in the US. And then the 126, the SGS 126, those were basically the transition ship. Once you went solo in a 233, they would quickly move you into a 126, which is a single place equivalency of the 233 with similar performance. They were very safety conscious about their aircraft. That's always been a key hallmark of their designs, is pushing that safety. It's something that we try to continue on. In 2006, we started selling parts, and then 2007, we actually formed K&L Soaring and sort of started the business sort of as a bigger venture at that point in time. And so we do a lot of commercial work, or even work for individuals. In our facility right now, we've got, one's a STEM school that's having a refurbishment done. One is a nonprofit organization that's sort of a Wounded Warriors program. One is an individual's ship that he's just wants to have it refurbished. And so it's sort of a variety across the board of individual owners versus schools, clubs. Say like a 233, and we're doing a complete refurbishment on, we basically sort of tear that down to ground zero, take all the fabric off the fuselage, go and weld on the metal fuselage and rebuild it back up. We go and do repairs on the wings, and then we're stripping the paint off the aircraft, repainting the aircraft, redoing fabric on the fuselage and all the control surfaces, and then doing final paint and build up, and then we actively go test fly the aircraft to make sure everything we did is quality work. I think carrying on the legacy. I mean, I don't know that I need much more motivation than that. It's something that, you think about what my grandfather and my two great uncles did at the time. I mean, they built their first glider when they were in high school in their barn, and you're like, well, the forethought to go and do that at that time, I can't think that I would have had that wherewithal to say, I'm going to build a glider in my barn in high school. I think, carrying on that legacy is pretty important.